So I was studying in Cork and we had orientation in Dublin for a couple of days, and it was just really helpful to get to know the kids in my program so that when you showed up in Cork at a brand new spot, you already had a web of friends that you could rely on as soon as you got there, which was probably the most helpful part of orientation. But also it's a much different education system, and so orientation really gave me a lot of knowledge about how to sign up for classes and how the classes worked and how your relationship with lecturers are and who you can go to for help and stuff like that.
I mean, it was a good opportunity just to get out and see parts of Ireland that I probably wouldn't have seen otherwise, and the Belfast trip in particular learned a lot about the history of Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, and saw the rocks up there on the Giant's Causeway were pretty awesome, and also just doing more trips with the whole Arcadia group kind of, you know, makes you feel comfortable being with your whole group of friends that you've gotten to know over the semester. Good way to integrate into culture a bit.
Giant's Causeway and Belfast trip was a blast. The Giant's Causeway, a lot of people say it's overrated when you go there. There are a lot of different expectations, but I loved it. It was, I actually went a second time on a geology field trip with UCC, and going twice, I would probably go 3 times. It's a really amazing spot, and Arcadia makes it really affordable, really accessible. The transportation, food, everything is pretty much included, and it was a really great way to go see the way up north for us Cork students, which can be tough to get to. Cork is the perfect city. It's not so Dublin can be a little touristy, and it's big, a little more metropolitan. And Cork is this really, it still feels like a city, but it's small enough that you can learn it really quickly, and the people are really nice, and it's a really energetic city. It's a really friendly city, and it's a really accessible city, and it's really close to all the great classic Irish scenery out west, and it's right near the ocean. It's a lot of day trips from Cork that you can take. But Cork as a city is my favorite. English Market is probably my favorite part of the entire city. One of the biggest open air markets I think in Europe, and it's got all these vendors with sandwiches, and they're like 8 different butchers, and we went to the same one every time, and we finally learned our name by the end of it, so that was really fun. But yeah, Cork is the best city in Ireland. My impression of Ireland is that it's one of the friendliest places you'll visit, because for our month off I did the thing where you go all around Europe, and by the end I really found that I missed Ireland, especially the people, because you could actually talk to the people, you see, and ask questions, and people are trying to help, and they're very friendly, and that's probably what I love most about Ireland. I don't know if that was a question, but my impressions of UCC, I was scared to go to a really big school. UCC is, I think, 10 times bigger than my home university, so that was scary, but going back to having Irish flatmates and being in classes with Irish students was definitely helpful. It was beautiful. The UCC campus is probably the best part of UCC. It's gorgeous. It's like a mix between Hogwarts and it's like half Hogwarts and half another school, I'd say. It looks like a castle. The main quad is a castle. It's gorgeous, and there are no dorms on campus, so it's all clean and nice, and everyone lives, all the student housing is around, and that's where all the crazy stuff happens. But the campus is beautiful, and everyone hangs out on campus when it's sunny. The quad is covered with kids. So.
One of the easiest things for me was that I was living with 3 Irish roommates, so right away they brought me out to their favorite Cork spots and told me what things I should see in Ireland, and introduced me to some of their friends, which was really good. But one of the best ways I got to know Cork was actually meeting other students in my classes. Some of my classes are really things that I'm focused on. For ecology, I took a class that went to Portugal with 35 other Irish students, and meeting those Irish students really got me integrated into the life of an Irishman. Had a lot of fun, and they brought me around to a bunch of different places in Cork and other places in Ireland. It was a really good way to actually meet other Irish people that were interested in the same stuff I was interested in. Cork people, they're great crack. Gotta love Cork people. They're just always down to have a good time, and I mean, everyone I've met in Ireland has just been so friendly, and ask them any question, they'll be willing to help you out, and they'll always invite you to go wherever. My biggest suggestion would be just, if someone invites you to something, as long as you don't feel too uncomfortable with it, go. Just see what they're all about, see what they do. If they invite you to some pub you've never heard of, go check it out. It's probably a cool local pub that you wouldn't have found otherwise.
I think one of the reasons I picked Arcadia was because I saw that in your living situation, you're living with both Irish students and Erasmus students from around Europe. And a lot of places it's just Americans, which I didn't really want. But living with Irish students, I had a French roommate, I had 2 Irish roommates and 1 American. And myself, one of my Irish flatmates, and the French flatmate watched soccer every weekend together, and we all supported different teams, and it got really rowdy and fun, and a lot of slagging went on between between us about our respective teams. But just having them to tell me what to go see and what to do, and I had a lot of conversations with them about, you know, the growing up in Ireland and what that was like, and how my experiences were different, where it was a really valuable part of my experience. The first time we got there, we got bombarded by these very loud large Irish men in our apartment complex, and they were the UCC J3 rugby team, and I think they would say I was an informal member. I never played in a match, but I was more of a cultural member of the J3 rugby team. We went out with them a lot to pubs, and we went to their matches, and we also one particular fellow even went hiking with us one day, and his mom picked us up from the bus station, and because he was from the west of Ireland, and his mom picked us up and dropped us off at our hike in Killarney, and picked us up and had pints with us afterwards. So that was an informal member of that club was very fun.
So the Mountaineering Club at Cork is a really good organization. Bunch of kids who just like to hike and rock climb, do some outdoorsy stuff. They lead hikes every Sunday that just cost a couple of euro for the bus ride out to wherever, and they get together at the climbing wall every Monday and Wednesday and climb together, and then go to pubs after that. And it was just another great way to meet kids that were into my same interests, and had a lot of fun meeting some of those people.
Well, going into such a big university, I was worried about, because coming from such a small university, was having a relationship with the lecturers here at UCC. But I found in the vast majority of my classes, every lecturer was available in their office for office hours, and were really helpful, especially to us visiting students who could be a little lost in the system. Being a little confused would really help us for grades and writing papers and taking exams. But yeah, my classes were great. I had a mix of classes with mostly visiting students and classes with Irish students. Probably my best class was Irish, the geological evolution of Ireland, and we went on a 5-day field trip to the Glens of Antrim on the north coast of Ireland, and that was a blast. That was probably my favorite class by far, was going out with Irish students and walking along the beaches of Northern Ireland, learning about the geology, and going back to the Giant's Causeway and taking a little more scientific approach to it. But yeah, I definitely say take a class that has a field trip at the end.
Personally, I've learned how to just throw myself in a situation and feel comfortable with it, instead of, being scared to enter into an area where I'm not so comfortable. Now I feel I can really go anywhere and meet anyone and figure stuff out. You know, it can always be a little bit frustrating at the start. For instance, when you first get to Cork or wherever in Ireland, figuring out your classes is a little bit difficult, a little more difficult than it is in America, but it all works itself out, and as long as you go at it with a relaxed attitude, it'll end up being fine in the end. And I mean, I've done a lot of traveling around Ireland and all throughout Europe now, and just having that experience has really given me a lot of confidence to go do what I want to do and go out and see the world without any reservations.
I think I've gained personally because living in Cork, I really was living, not on my own, but it was definitely, I was living much more independently than when I live on campus at my home university. I was living in a city that I had to learn, I had to shop for myself, cook for myself, budget myself more than at home, and I really learned that I can actually live on my own, which was I think it can be a very valuable experience later on in life, because you just really don't get that same experience at my home university, because living on campus, having dining halls available to you, and other than that, I love to cook for myself and I love shopping for food, and so I was a little worried about that, and I definitely grew in that area, living independently.
Best advice I would give to future students: come here. You will not regret it. This has been the best semester of my college career by far, and if I could stay for another semester, I would definitely do it.
Advice for future students: if you're looking at Ireland, I would definitely say go to Cork, and I guess same thing as Dylan said, but if someone asks you to go out, you say yes, and you try to really gain all the experiences you can. We went on 3 different hikes through Ireland, we got stuck on the highest mountain in Ireland in a rainstorm, which was a little scary, but that was really fun. We hitchhiked with really friendly Irish guys. We said, you just really say yes to everything you can, and vary your experiences, and really get out there and do what you can. I chose to go through a program because it gave you that sort of safety net to fall back on that you wouldn't have if you just went by yourself, just studying abroad. And Arcadia, through orientation, through setting up living arrangements, through signing up for classes, through communicating with your home university about credits, I'd say it really did a great job. Especially, it was just much easier not having to worry about everything you have to worry about when you study abroad, and Arcadia takes care of pretty much everything, and it makes it much easier and a lot easier just to focus on what's important, which is embracing the abroad experience, not having to worry about living arrangements and stuff like that.